Hello, happy Friday. I'm Janine. This is Friday Sews, episode 15 on my channel, and it's April 26th, 2024. As usual with Friday Sews, I'm going to tell you about what I've made, thought about making, bought, and a little bit about what else is going on. So I hope you'll stick around so we can get caught up. Today I'm wearing Simplicity 1461. This is a woven tunic. I made this in 2018. I'm going to pop up a picture of me wearing it from a long time ago. It's kind of a gray day. It's hard to get pictures. So this has these little lapels and it's got princess seams and it's got bands on the sleeves. Fabric is rayon. I still have this pattern and I may try it again. And now that I know a little bit more about fitting, I would like to improve the fit of the princess seams over my bust. In my last video, I talked at length about how I felt like I had kind of boxed myself into a corner, and I had a list of things that I said I was going to do, so dag nabbit, I was going to do them, even if I wasn't loving doing it. My husband had said to me that sewing has become your job, and that's really what it felt like. So I released all that, cleaned up the sewing room, put away all those projects, and I am going to continue to sew following my plan, which is working on some wovens this year, sewing solids, sewing things that I'm actually going to wear, working on fit. But I'm going to sew things that bring me joy. Just like Marie Kondo says in her book about tidying up, I think I should also be sewing things that I'm excited about in colors and fabrics that make my heart sing. That's what I'm going to try to do. There will be slip-ups, but I am trying to do that. Shortly after I posted that video, I was scrolling through Instagram and I saw a piece of fabric that made my heart sing, and I had to go and buy it. So I bought 2 meters of a really fun print, yes, a print fabric from one of my favorite fabric stores. I'm going to put a link down below to the fabric. And I said, you need some t-shirts. This would be a very pretty t-shirt, some kind of a nice knit top. So I went down a couple of days later to pick up the fabric, and I also had some patterns that were printed. And when I bought the fabric, I thought that the elements of the print were like this big. And I picked up the fabric and the elements of the print were this big. So my idea about sewing a really cute t-shirt completely went out the window because the scale of the print was just way too big. Crazy big. So I brought the fabric home and thought about what I could do. I looked at a lot of different patterns and kept saying to myself, you cannot make a dress out of that. You can't. You're not going to wear a dress. Why would you make a dress out of that? And then the next day it was, maybe you should make a dress out of that. But make a dress that's interesting. Well, I was limited in the pattern choices because it has this honkin' big pattern print on the fabric. But I really wanted something that was going to give me some shape, to make it appear like I had a waist, and I just couldn't find any patterns that were going to do that. In the end, I decided to go back to one of my TNT patterns, which is Simplicity 85.95. I have used this t-shirt pattern several times. It's a nice pattern. It hangs from the shoulders, so it's not close fitting at all. I always cut a large with this. So this is a nice pattern. Yeah, I'm going to use this. But it was really boring. I mean, I didn't want to do the no shoulder thing because nobody does that anymore. And I tried that once on this pattern and I had bad luck with it. So I thought, what am I going to do to make this more interesting? Should I put a tie around the waist? Could I do a slit on the side? Could I change the sleeves? I wanted to do something interesting with the neckline. And there's a pattern I have in my stash that I've used. And that pattern has one look, one view that I've always wanted to try and I haven't. And so this is Kwik Sew 3915. I've made this version a couple of times, very much like it. This is an excellent pattern. But I've always wanted to make this version, the one with the ruched neckline. I don't know if you can see that. I don't think that's zooming in enough. But it's got a rounded neckline, and the front of the neckband is ruched. I'm going to try that. So I traced off my pattern because that's my TNT and I want to preserve it. I didn't want to cut the neckline. And when I traced it, I decided at the same time to do a dartless FBA. And with the dartless FBA, you add extra fabric just on the front at the bust line, and that also gives you the extra length that you need at the front, and then you just kind of ease it at the side. If you've not done it and you're interested, I'd say definitely look at Jenny Rushmore's book, Ahead of the Curve. It's very easy and it really helps with removing drag lines on knit tops if you don't want to do an FBA. So I traced it out. I did dartless FBA. I lengthened the dress a little bit, and I also did a slight sway back adjustment. I don't know how successful that was. And then I traced on the neckband and cut everything out. Made a big note on my pattern pieces that the Kwik Sew seam allowance is an quarter of an inch, and simplicity is 5/8 of an inch. And this was last Sunday I did all of this. Had everything all cut out. I was going to sew it on Monday. On Sundays I'm offline. Don't do anything on the computer. So on Monday I went and I looked at some of the reviews of this Kwik Sew pattern, and there were at least 2 where people said, do not use this neckband with a printed fabric because it's going to look awful. Well, I'd already cut it out. And I thought maybe I made a big mistake, but then I decided if I've made a big mistake, then I guess I'll just get some solid color fabric and redo the neckband in a solid color. Sewed it up, super fast, super easy. I'm going to pop up some pictures of me in this, but here's the dress. Here's the crazy print. This is Aqua with these massive peonies. There's a hummingbird, and there are some hidden cats. Knit. It's an Avalana Stof Avalana stretch. Knit fabric, cotton lycra. It's very much kind of a Ted Baker print, and I love Ted Baker stuff. I think that's why this called to me, was because of the Ted Baker look. Here's the neckband up close. So it's ruched just in this segment here. There's a facing on the inside, and the facing is interfaced. And then on the front piece, let the light come back. In the front piece, it's longer and you just gather it. So, I think the print looks really good. However, this was not planned. This was luck. You can see that the print on my neckband aligns with the print on the body of the dress. And I think that helps it to look more cohesive. So I'm going to make another note in my pattern that I should check to make sure that the print on the neckband, if I'm using a print on the neckband kind of flows with the print on the body of the dress. When this was all finished and I put it on, the neckband did stand out just a little bit at the front of my chest. So I took a needle and thread and I just did a running stitch that I gathered slightly, and that's brought it in nice and tight. This dress brings me joy, and I am so looking forward to the first time that I can wear it. It's a little bit chilly right now, but it won't be long. Could be warm enough next week that I can wear this when I go get groceries or if we go out for dinner or something. And I'm really happy that I made this. I'm pleased that I bought the crazy fabric, and I will find opportunities to wear this particular dress because a knit t-shirt dress can be worn all over the place. So that's what I made. The other thing that I made, I did a pattern test. Can't tell you about that, and that turned out really well. And I have not mentioned this, but I did sign up for the Cashmerette Wyman Dress Sloper program, and I've been working on that. I'm a little bit slow because I am not a fan of having to take all these slow steps. It's really difficult for me to follow those rules, especially when I've kind of said, just do what makes you happy. But this is something that I've invested in, and I'm going to, I might not do it at the same speed that the live program is moving along, but I am going to get it done. And I've done my first wall. I'm going to have to do a second one. So we'll talk about that in the future. Once I gave up on several of the other items on my list, I've allowed myself to look at some things that I want to sew. And something I want to sew is a bag. And last weekend, one of the members of the Calgary Sews group was holding a bag making retreat here in town. And as part of the retreat, there was some time when you could go to a pop-up shop and buy bag stuff. I don't really know what I'm doing making bags. I've made a couple, but I'm so far from an expert. And I thought that would be a really great time for me to go and get some supplies when there were people there who could help me, rather than just ordering online. So I went up to that, and I'll say first that I was blown away by this event. It was called the Bagoneer Getaway, I think. And they had a huge room filled with people all sewing bags. Super happy, wonderful sewing event. It was so exciting to see. And of course, because I went into a space where everybody was having so much fun sewing bags, it was very dangerous, because that made me think that if I buy all this stuff, I can have that same happiness. I did buy a couple of things. I didn't go too crazy. So I'm going to show you what I bought and what I am planning to make. So the first little shop that I stopped at was a cork shop, and this was all in this one big hotel facility. It was a cork shop, and she had kits where everything was all together. So I got this little kit to make a carrying case for an iPhone, and the fabric is cork, which I've never worked with before, and thought it was a pretty print. And this just seemed like a great way to learn about sewing with cork and sewing a bag. So I got this little kit. It's $25 Canadian, so very affordable. And I think that that's a project that won't be too taxing, and it would be something I would use. There was another little shop that is called Spotted Zebra Engraving, and they do customized everything, like customized labels and stuff. And this is like super heavy, like canvas, but it's treated in some way. So you could probably put this on something that goes outside. And this is faux leather. Or maybe that's even suede. Anyway, they had a cute little shop. And then at the back, Emmeline Bags was set up. Emmeline is very well known in North America. They have a huge marketplace for everything bag supply, and they're actually an Alberta business. They're about 2.5 hours up the road. And I have looked at their stuff online, but I don't know what to buy. I see a list of supplies and I have no idea what any of it means. So I spoke to Janelle, who owns Emmeline, and she helped me pick out some things. And I bought a pattern for a bag. Creations bag. This one is, what's this? This is the Louie waist pack, and apparently this is like a Lululemon bag, you know, that all the kids are wearing. I've never been in a Lululemon, but apparently this is very popular. So I got this, and this fabric, which is canvas, kind of treated canvas, and I'm gonna make the bag out of this. And she helped me pick out the zippers and the D-rings and the swivel hooks and all of that stuff. I also, well, you won't believe how much shopping I did the past couple of weeks. I also bought two other patterns. One is for a passport wallet, make that out of cork. Figured that'd be a gift I could make for people. And then there's one that's a duffel. And this duffel fits over the handle on your rollerboard, which I thought was cute. So I came home with all of that. And then it hit me. In 2018, when I went to the ASG conference in Las Vegas, I bought everything that I needed to make a big carrying bag, like a big tote. And I bought the fabric, zippers, foam, stays, tubing, everything for this bag, the Poppins bag, which is very cute. And I brought home the fabric. It was a directional print. It was the skyline of Manhattan, and it had to be cut a certain way because it was a directional print. 3 times I cut it the wrong way, and I just gave up. So I had this pattern, and I have all of the accoutrements, but I have no fabric. So I decided I want to make that dang bag. Yesterday, I went to my sewing room, which is a fabric store here in Calgary, and I bought fabric for it. And again, it's something I'm excited about. And I've wanted to make this bag for a long time, but you do need, well, it's nice to have a directional print. And I found this fabric in my sewing room. I may have to stand up to show this to you. And there are 4 panels on it. I can use any one of these panels for, oh, that's upside, is that upside down? That's upside down. I can use any one of these panels for the front or the back. Gorgeous. And then I got lining fabric and everything I needed to make that Poppins bag. I also bought another set of these panels because I thought they would make really pretty pillows. Now, quilting cotton is not ideal for pillows. So if you have an idea or a suggestion on how I could make quilting cotton more suitable for pillows, short of putting a layer of clear vinyl on top, could you please let me know? Because I would love to have pillows out of this fabric, but I don't want it to look creased and crummy all the time. So that's something that's bringing me joy, and it kind of went down a rabbit hole. But I think that these are little projects that don't take as much time. There's no fitting or anything like that involved. So the first one that I'm going to do is that Louie, the waist pack kind of thing, because I wanted to have one of those. That was actually on the list for this year. So that's the first thing I'm going to do. I have a confession to make. I am not a haul person. In the past, I may have bought bags of fabric, but I haven't done that recently, and I'm very diligently trying to whittle down what's in the pattern and fabric stash. But I've been reading some concerning things about New Look. New Look patterns are in the clearance bins for 99 cents at Hobby Lobby, and from what I've read, it sounds like, I could be wrong, it sounds like New Look patterns are no longer going to be printed. They're only going to be available on PDF. I like a printed pattern. So I was concerned enough that I went online and I ordered a bunch of New Look patterns from the States. And then yesterday I discovered that New Look patterns are also available from my sewing room here in Calgary. So between those 2 events, I've bought a lot of patterns. Now I am going to dig through my patterns and I'm going to make room for these. I'm going to get rid of patterns today so that these will fit in the bin. But I like New Look patterns. I've had really good results from them. They're often simple designs, easy to follow patterns. I don't think I've had a bad result yet. So I'm going to really quickly show you what I bought. When I bought these, I tried to select patterns that were going to highlight my waist and provide me with garments that work with my life and my lifestyle. Surprisingly, I bought a bunch of dress patterns. I don't know why, but each of them, I had a reason. In most cases, now that I look back, perhaps it wasn't a great reason, but I have these patterns now, and if I don't use them, I'll share them with someone else. So I'm just going to really quickly go through them. New Look 6656, cute woven top, nice waist shaping. New Look 6232, cowboy shirt. We wear cowboy shirts in Calgary, and there's one man's pattern too there. I don't know how I wound up with a Butterick pattern, but I bought a Butterick pattern too. 6759, pretty dress, waist shaping, might be nice for wearing on a vacation. New Look 6708, cute sleeve detail, seen it made up, it looked cute, it wasn't too voluminous in sleeves. New Look 6713, unisex jacket, my husband will like this. New Look 6625, look at this cute top, sleeveless, woven, princess seams front and back. New Look 6668, cute summer top, waist detailing, crazy gypsy skirt. New Look 6751, for knits, kind of like a caftan, but it has a waist. New Look 6618, another dress for knits. This one has ties, so it has a waist, and the gathers hide the belly. New Look 6778, it has a waist. I don't know why I bought it. New Look 6458, knit basics. Can never go wrong with that. New Look 6673, another one with waist detailing. This one has princess seams. New Look 6781, Eileen Fisher-esque. And finally, New Look 6163. Now this pattern, this has been around for a long time, and I've actually had my eye on this pattern for several years. I'll tell you a brief little story. When we went to London a few years ago, I saw a woman on the street. She was about my age, and she was slender, a little more petite. She was wearing a car coat like this with lovely trousers and a little shell underneath. And the car coat was open, and I can't remember what fabric it was. She looked so chic. And ever since then, I've been looking at this pattern thinking, wouldn't this be a nice look? Just the open jacket over nice trousers or over pants or even over a skirt. Just thought it was a really lovely look, and I've had my eye on this pattern for quite a few years. So I figured I'd better buy it before it went away. So those are all the patterns I bought. Now I have to, as soon as this is done, I have to go and get rid of a bunch of other patterns so those can fit in. I'm also thinking of maybe getting that, does anybody use that Stash Hub app to keep track of their patterns? If you do, could you note in comments if you like it or you don't like it? I would like to have a better method to keep track of my patterns so that I don't go out and buy more things. And, you know, it just saves time generally. I do have one other thing that's new in the sewing room. I found this. This was my mom's. And I remember this from when I was a kid and a teenager. This was always in the family room because my mom always had to have busy hands or she would fall asleep watching TV. So this sat beside her chair and she had her, her scraps in here, pins, needles, everything. So I cleaned it out and I've put it in the sewing room, and it is a very useful thing. This fabric, just so you know, matched the decor of our family room. And you can wager a guess about what decade my mother decorated our family room. It's totally 70s. I'm gonna keep it, I don't know if I can handle this fabric, this print, but for now it's gonna stay the way it is, and it's gonna sit beside the serger where, yes, it's a very useful thing to have. Otherwise, spring has peeked its head around the corner, and so spring cleaning in the house, doing some garden work, going to be doing a lot of purging. We've carried a lot of things for several moves, and I think that now is the time to get rid of some stuff and have some empty closets. So that's really what I'm going to be working on for the next couple or 3 weeks. Nothing too exciting. We don't really have any plans for anything in the next while. Bowling wrapped up this week for the year. Won't be back until, I guess it's September. And in this part of the world, it's just time to enjoy being outdoors. Are you working on anything exciting or new, or just doing spring cleaning like the rest of us, working in the garden? What's going on in your world? I hope to be back with you next week. Maybe I'll have a Wyman sloper, dress sloper to show you, or maybe, hopefully, I have one of these bags done, because I'm hoping those are easy little projects that can be done in a couple of hours. You know I appreciate you watching. Thank you so much. I hope you have a wonderful weekend, and I will see you very soon. Take care.